Hello guys, so I'll be showing us how to make this dress. I hope you enjoy every bit of it. I hope you would love it. It is actually for a birthday. I hope you watch till the end. Thank you. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to LittleStitch by Amara. So today we'll be making this beautiful dress for an 8-year-old, turning 9, and I'm working with my net, and these are basically what they used on the dress. So I bought 20 yards of net. I hope it's enough from my calculation. I hope 20 yards is enough because this is the highest I can go for this dress. Then I'm here with 3 yards of bridal satin. So guys, I hope you sit right back, watch till the end, follow, practice. This could even be a Christmas dress for your baby. So let's get right there. But before, I think I'm going to cut this on a pattern paper first, then I can now replicate on the material. So please, if this is your first time tuning to our channel, do well by subscribing. Do not forget to hit the like button, turn on your notification bell for more updates on our supposed uploads. So thank you guys. So this is the measurement I'll be working with: full length 45, half length 12, shoulder 12, chest 26, the waist 22. She's really on the slim side. So now the half length I'll be working with will be 45 minus the half length. The downside, the lower bodice, I'll do 45 minus 11 to give me 33. So the lower side, I'm going to be working with 33 inches, and I'll be cutting it in flay form. I'll be cutting a full flay to achieve those step by step, make it stand and look full. Thank you. So after dividing the waist measurement by 6.28, I got 3.5. So I'll be using 3.5 to cut out the full flay. First thing, I went in by folding my material into 4. I folded my material into 4, as you can see. After folding into 4, I will now use the 3.5 inches to mark out the waist circumference. Exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to mark out 3.5 round that point. Then after then, I'll now mark out the length of the lower bodice I'll be working with. Note, I'll be using 38 for the lower part. That is from the the upper bodice measurement 12 to 38. Then the net will now cover up for the remaining 45 inches. So you can see where I'm placing my tape. The 12 inches is on that line where I marked 3.5 all through. This is to indicate that the half bodice is going to end on that 12 inches, then continuation of the lower bodice down. So I'm going to go around now and mark out what I have all through. That is 38 all round. After marking out 38 all round, I'm going to cut out 38. So I promised I wasn't going to be fast, and I'm going to take my time. As we keep going, we keep getting better. So don't worry, I'm not going to be so fast this time around. I'm going to take my time to break it down. Please, if you have questions, do not forget to ask. Do not hesitate to ask. I will answer the ones I can, honestly. So I'm going to go right in and cut out. I've finished cutting out and I got exactly what I wanted: 11 inches and remaining for the zipper allowance. So 11 plus 11 is 22. So I got exactly 22 inches for the waist and extra 2 inches for zipper allowance. So in total I had 24. That's very much okay. So I'm going to just notch the midpoint. So now, after much calculation for my net, I'm going to go ahead now and mark out the different layers of the net I'll be working with. First, the nets are not going to be the same size. So each layer has its own measurement. So from the first layer, I came down by 4 inches. I'm going to start, see, you see the way I kept my tape, 12. I'm going to come mark out 4 inches for the net there. Then the next net is going to start 2 inches after the first one. This is so it doesn't show, so that the second and the second layer, the first layer can cover up the second layer. So for the second band, I came down after 2 inches. So for the third layer, I came down after 6 inches. So I went ahead to mark out all the lines. This is depending on how you want your net to be. This is depending on how you want your net to be. If you want them to be the spaces to be smaller, you can reduce. If you want them to be longer, you can increase. All this is preference, but I'm just working with what I saw on the client's picture. That's the picture I posted initially. So now 2 inches right all through from the waist measurement. Then I came down by 6. You can see. The first one is 2. The second one, I came down from the waist measurement to 7. I don't know if you get me. From the waist, I came down by 7. That's for the second layer. The first layer is from waist to 2 inches. That one I'm going to cut. My net is going to be 4 inches in length. Then the next one will be 7 inches in length. So that's how I went on. You make sure you mark it out so that you are going to be sure of where you place your net when sewing, because it has to be on the same line. If the nets are not all on the same line, when you're joining, it's going to look funny. When you're sewing, the outcome will be looking funny. They will not align. So I went on to mark out all the layers, the measurement I'll be needing. Then after this, I'll now use what I marked out to cut out the desired length of net I want. All this is preference, depending on how long you want your net to be. Remember, this is a tall girl. This is an 8-year-old turning 9. So you cannot compare this with a child of 2 years. Definitely it will not be the same. So while cutting the net, I made sure I added 1 inch on all of them to avoid stories. Please, it's very important. When you're cutting out, make sure you top it up by 1 inch all through. So like I said, I was working with 20 inches, 20 yards of net. So I had to divide them into 2, that is 10 yards each. So the folding I did here, I folded one part of the 20 inches, which is 10 inches. So this one I'm cutting right here is 10 inches and 10 yards, sorry. After folding it, I now had to use this to cut out the first 3 layers, the last 3 layers of my net. The last 3 layers of my net. So the child you might be working with might be a younger age. I might not require up to 20 inches in yards, 20 yards of net. This is a tall girl, so, and the total measurement is 45. You can imagine how tall she is. So I use this first 10 yards to cut out the last 3 steps. I used the first 10 yards to cut the last 3 steps of my net. So for the first layer, I cut out 13 inches into 3. If you can make it 4, fine. The fuller, the finer. So remember I said when you're cutting out, I was supposed to cut out 12. But like I said, it is advisable to add 1 inch. So after sewing, you can now trim out. It is better to be over than to be under than to be less. So now for the upper bodice, remember the half length is 12 inches, but I'll be using 13 inches. I'll be adding one extra for the joining and sewing allowance. Then her shoulder is 12. I marked out 6 inches. 12 divided by 2 is 6. I came down by 1 inch, 1 inch for the shoulder slope. Not really 1 inch, but I did not use half inch. I used 0.75 since she's not a baby anymore, and babies we use mostly half inch, and I did not want to make it completely 1 inch so it doesn't slope too much. So then for the armhole, I came down by 6 inches. After sloping down, I came down by 6 inches. I went in at the midpoint by 0.5 inches. Sorry. So now for the chest measurement, she's chest 26. I had to divide it by 4. I got 6 point something, 6.5. Then for the waist is 22. I divided by 4. I had 5.5. Her waist is really tiny. So now for the back part, I'm going to do exactly the same thing, but I'll be leaving 1 inch allowance for the zipper. Exactly the same thing. For the front neckline, I did 3 by 2.5. You can do 3 by 3, you can do 3 by 2.5, but remember this is an 8-year-old dress. Then for the back, I did 3 by 2, 3 by 2, 3 by. So now for the front part of it, that net transparent part, I went in by 1.5. Remember, it is on fold, so if you're using 1.5, when you open up it's going to be 3. If you're using 2 inches, when you open up it's going to be 4. So I was working with 1.5 inches. As you can see, I'm marking out 1.5 inches, and I'm going to trace it direct from the neckline down to the end of the dress. Please, if this is your first time tuning into our channel, do not forget to subscribe, do not forget to like, share, comment, and hit the notification bell in case of our next upload. So I just went in and traced it down. Remember, it's going to have something like a belt on the waistline. So after tracing this out, I'm going to just cut it out. So I've cut out. So I'll now use this to cut out the net. And while cutting, I will be adding half inch on both sides for sewing allowance. So I thought of using this skin net to cut out the mid part. In short, I had cut it out from the with the skin net, but I later changed my mind. Being that is a child, I had to use the same color of the net, which was pink, baby pink. So I did not go through with using this to sew the dress. I had to change my mind, since the mother said I should just do something nice for her baby girl. So this would have been better if it was on on an adult, but since it's a child, just decided to do it on the net of the dress, the pink net. So welcome to my sewing table. So I always prefer starting from the hardest part of the dress to do before I proceed to the easiest part. So I'm going to just sew my net on all the lines marked. Remember, I said it is very important to mark out the lines so you can follow sequentially, and you have to be very careful so one side doesn't look longer than the other side. So I went ahead to gather my net, or you do tiny pleats on those lines. So my nets I even had to double my net so it gives it a fuller and finer look. It doesn't look scattered. I had to double the net while gathering it on the material. So this was what I did all through till I got to the end, to the top part of the dress. So you have to be really patient in doing this. It is not easy, but the outcome is really beautiful. So you can see I'm almost done with this part. You see I doubled my net, so I'll keep gathering until I am completely done here. So quick on, they are making this dress for my when I was still a child. There's this lady I was so close to. Then she wasn't married, but recently somebody gave her my number. She heard I make dresses for children, for kids, so she asked I make something for her girl. I said, you already have a child that is up to 8 years and I don't even know. So I am making this dress for my little baby. for my, no, for my step sister. So now, you see, I told you I did not go ahead with the skin net. I had to cut it out on the color of the net, which is pink. So now you remember you're going to cut the net on full, which is double. So I went ahead to sew it down. I'm going to trim it to make it very close, trim it very close so it doesn't show. So I noticed I had injured it, so I'm still going to sew and cover up that place. So now I'll now join this with the front bodice, the other part of it. Yes, so I placed one side on the other side, front facing front, although there's no front in this one because I used both the same material for both lining and the main back bodice. So I just placed my net directly where I cut it out initially. So I'm going to sew on the half inch I left, the half inch I added, sorry. Remember to add an extra inch when you're sewing. So I'm going to just mark out that 3 inches, you see. So now I'm going to sew on the remaining half inch. So I took my other bodice, placed it directly on that neckline, and I'm going to sew on it. You have to be careful, really careful here. So this is always advisable to do this on the pattern paper, so you can add allowance on both sides. Don't mind me, please. So now after joining it with the other side, I'm going to trim out, then use the lining to cover it. I'm going to use the lining to cover it. Just watch how I'm going to do this, because most people usually have problems when it comes to turning this with their lining. So now I'm going to just turn it, place my lining on it. Normally, as I was supposed to turn it even without the net, I'll place front side facing front side, you can see. Then I'm going to now sew on there, in between. The net will now be in between both materials. I don't know if you understand me. Please guys, if this is your first time, please do not forget to subscribe. Do not forget to hit the notification bell. Do us this favor. This is how we grow, and this is how we get money and make more videos for you. No money, no videos, so please help us grow. So I'm done turning using my lining to turn the first face. I'll do the same for the other part. Then after that, I'll now go ahead and iron them out, so you can see how neatly turned it is, you see. So I'll now go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. You see, you won't even know which is front or back because everywhere looks really fine. So I'm now going to close up the armhole. And remember, it doesn't have a sleeve, so I'm just going to turn the armhole. I'll do the same thing for the other side. So Merry Christmas, my people. Forgive my manners. Merry Christmas in advance. Yeah, we're already in December, so and I wish you guys a prosperous new year in advance too. So we are at the back right now, so I'm going to just turn the back. After turning the back, I'll use the front to close the shoulder of the back. You see, I'm just going to insert the front bodice in between the back shoulder, then I'm going to sew on it. This is not a new thing. I always show you guys this. You should have gotten used to this pattern. That's if you're new to this, if you're new to this pattern of turning your shoulder, closing your shoulder. So now remember, it has something that looks like a waistband on it. So I went ahead to mark out the length of the waist, then 2 inches and a little thing for sewing. So I marked out the length of the waist, then I added extra for the joining. So I've gone ahead to iron out. You can see how beautifully done it is. So now the next thing is for me to close up the sides. So for the back part, I just did a rough loose stitch on the zipper area so I can sew my thing in piece. So now after doing that, I'm just going to loosen it up, you see, so that line will guide me when I'm inserting my zipper too. That is another reason why we do those things. It's either the iron line shows you or the thread line shows you where you're going to attach your zip. So for the band, I added a little interfacing to give it firmness. So I'm just going to place it on the waistline and sew. You can make your band smaller, you can make it bigger, whichever way. You can decide to use 1 inch, you can decide to make it 2 inches, whichever way you want. These things are just the mind. You can just try and be creative in your own way. You can decide to make the band just in the front, you can decide to make it to the back just like I did mine. So now I'll be joining this to the lower bodice. So remember, I had already notched the lower bodice. I'm going to just take the upper bodice and locate the midpoint and attach it to the midpoint of the lower bodice. Then I'm going to sew. So after sewing that, I'll now attach the lining to the lining of the upper bodice and sew. Look for the midpoint and sew. So after attaching the lining, the next thing now is for me to attach my zipper. So after attaching my zipper, I guess I'll just go ahead now, join them, trim, make sure the length of the net are all on the same line. You can see how beautifully neat it is. Thank you guys for watching. Do not forget to watch. If you watched till this very point, thank you. You are the real MVP. Bye.